because I grew up with him as the Penguin, and Louis De Palma. I know him as this lovable, wonderful mensch of a guy, but like his characters can be evil.
Welcome to Story and Craft. Now, here's your host, Mark Preston.
Okay, here we go. Another episode of Story and Craft. Thank you for stopping by. If this is your first episode, I want to welcome you and shake your hand. Thank you very much. Virtually shaking your hand. Glad to have you here. Today we are chatting with Lucy DeVito. She's an actor, been in film and TV for a long time. A new movie she has out called The Secret Art of Human Flight. It is available right now. Video on demand, VOD. You can check that out. Of course, her parents are Danny DeVito and Rhea Perlman, and it was cool to chat with her about what it was like growing up with parents who were successful in film and TV. It was a great conversation, and I'm so happy to bring it to you today. Real quick before we get to it, I would love for you to go to your podcast app and follow Story and Craft. That way you get notified every time we have a new episode. Leave some stars, leave a review, helps people find the show, and it is greatly appreciated. Everything about the show you could possibly want to know, just head to storyandcraftpod.com. Once again, that's storyandcraftpod.com. Okay, so let's get after it. Today is Lucy DeVito Day, right here on Story and Craft. How you doing this morning?
Yeah, I'm good. Like I said, I had a baby a month ago, and so I've been up for a little while, and everything is good.
You said you've been up, but at 1 month old, you're getting up constantly.
Yes, exactly.
The one thing I remember, but back when I was, my first was born, and my first one is 21 years old now, so it's been a minute. But I remember I was like, I work for myself. I have my own recording studio. I can stay up all night. So I just realized that the getting up and going back to sleep. And I did all the night feedings except for, I think, like 3 or 4. And I was like,
Wow.
I'm just going to stay up all night. So it's me and the dog and the baby, always, for all 3 of my kids. So it was a bonding experience, I will say that. In fact, I had a golden retriever at the time, and my baby, she was, I guess, a couple, 3 months old. She just wanted to go and kind of lay on. He would curl up in a little ball, and she'd go lay on him, and he just kind of like cuddle her, so I could get up and go get a bottle, come back, and I've got he's almost 5 months old. It doesn't compare. I know, it's a golden retriever. He's in his toddler phase right now.
Oh my God. We had a golden retriever growing up too.
Really?
They're the best. Yeah. Yeah. His name was Ocean, and he loved the water, obviously, but he was like, I understand why he would like take care that your older golden retriever would take care of the baby, because like our Ocean would like just watch us as kids. And whenever we were at the beach and we would go in the water, he would go in with us to like babysit us.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you have is a little boy or a little girl?
Yeah, boy. His name's Carmine.
So how do you have things kind of broken up? Are you waking up multiple times throughout the night, or are you?
Yeah, and we are, but we're like multitasking, And right now he's with his dad in the living room. So, we're taking turns and sort of like getting into a routine, which is good. And we have a little help. Yeah.
Yeah, a month ago. That month has probably gone by just like that.
So fast. I can't believe it. Yeah, it's been like I'm in a fugue state, but a joyful one, It's really, really amazing.
Now, did you grow up West Coast, or did you grow up in, every time I think of your dad, I always think Jersey, so where did you grow up?
Yeah, I grew up in Los Angeles. Yeah, I grew up in Los Angeles, but I grew up also coming to the East Coast quite often, like, if my parents were working there, or my dad's whole side of the family is in Jersey, so like we would spend summers there and Christmas there, and I always felt very connected to the East Coast. I always loved New York, and then but I grew up like proper in LA.
So both your folks, are they both East Coasters?
Yeah, my dad's from Jersey, and my mom's from Brooklyn.
You're definitely East Coaster.
Yeah, I know. And yeah, I feel like very like that's ingrained in that culture back, the East Coast. And then I lived in New York, and I still have I go back and forth. I was there for like, 5 months last year. I still love it. So I'm trying to keep it bi-coastal as much as I can, and we'll see how that goes with having a child. But
Your folks, are they living in LA now? Do they live full time there still?
yeah.
So they must be over the moon having the new baby around.
Oh yeah, they're so thrilled. And yeah, my sister's around, and she has a baby who's 1.5, and my brother's nearby, and so the family's like in very close proximity. Everyone's able to see each other a lot, and that's been so helpful too, and just like a great comfort. So we'll be able to just like have we spend a lot of time together as a family anyway, so it'll.
Do you have a brother and a sister, or do you have more siblings?
No, that's it. Brother and sister. Yeah.
Now, growing up in LA, did you have the thing where, of course, your folks are working in the business? Is that kind of your ecosystem? Socially, was it other kids whose folks are working in the entertainment industry, or where you kind of had your own thing going on?
No, somewhat. I mean, like, of course, my parents are both in the business, so like, we were friendly with a lot of other actors and people in the industry, of course. But like, I went to private school in the Valley, and people of different walks of life. But coming from Los Angeles, like a lot of people are connected to the industry here. So, but yeah, no, I mean, I got a taste of like a lot of different walks of life and stuff. So, but we were like, I grew up like going to sets and being around the film and TV industry pretty.
Well, growing up, was that something that was kind of like, ugh, you got to do this again? Was it something that you just kind of got bored with, or was it something that was turning you on? Like, oh, wait a minute, this
No,
is
I always enjoyed it. I always like. I mean, maybe it's one of the reasons why I'm like still. I'm pursuing the career of an actor. Is I love being on sets. I always loved going visiting my parents and being around the people making the stuff. It's just like a fun atmosphere, and I always found it like really, really interesting. No.
like I grew up. My father ran car dealerships, so I could not stand being around car dealerships.
Yeah, it's like it's a little different than that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think what you're doing growing up was probably a lot more fun. But what were you up to when you're coming up in school? Were the arts, theater, was that on the agenda, or were
Yeah.
you a sporty kid? What were you up to in school?
I definitely was not sporty. I was but I was always like, yeah, I was always in theater in high school, and I did like, extracurricular theater programs, and then I went to college, and I did theater there, and then went to New York and did theater. So I kind of like always been like since high school, always been really into it, and then the arts of in other ways. I love to draw and paint and stuff, and I'm not really musically inclined, but I appreciate it.
Now, is your husband, is he an industry kind of guy, or is he a civilian?
No, no, he's not. He's civilian. Yeah, he's a
Uh,
lawyer. Yeah,
oh, really? Okay, very good,
yeah,
very
yeah,
good. So,
yeah,
as you're coming up, you said you went to you spent some time in New York after school, but where'd you go to college? Did you go in?
yeah.
Were you in
Uh,
California?
no, I went to Brown in Rhode Island, in
Oh, okay,
Providence.
okay.
Yeah, which was a really, really cool experience, and I loved it there. It was, I made some great friends, and the teachers were awesome, and just the atmosphere there was like so so East Coast college. It was it was beautiful, and they had like a like I was able to take lots of different classes in the theater um, in the theater program without actually being a theater major. I was like actually an art history major, and you were able to also like be in all the plays and all of that stuff. So um, it's really great. And then after moving to New York afterwards, so many people from college moved to New York, and there's a great um, community of people there in the city, and lots of people I'm still friends with, and lots of people who are in the business who I went to college with, who are still doing it.
Question I always have to ask, if someone has parents who are in the industry, was it something that was obviously it was always there, but was it encouraged? Did anybody like try to discourage you from doing this or give you lots of cautionary tales? Coming up, what was the angle your folks took on it?
They were really supportive of it once, like professionally, once I went to college. So they were, I mean, supportive of it, in school and stuff, but they didn't want me to pursue acting as a child, in a professional sense. So, and I appreciate that looking back, that it was like, I had this really kind of, I just went to school and did my thing and didn't try to, um, you know, work as a kid.
Sometimes you have kids go become phenomenal, just wonderful adult actors, and other ones go a whole different direction. So
Yeah,
I understand your
totally.
parents' hesitancy there. Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, and that my, we're the thing is like they I watched my parents go through all, even though they're like very successful, they do have their ups and downs and stuff. So like I wasn't blind to the fact that it's a difficult career and full of, rejection, and it's a really like tough thing to break into. And so like I think that they were very like, honest with me about all of those, pitfalls and stuff. But like at the same time, like very supportive, and we're like, we, are at this point, we are peers, we work together and support each other and um, help each other out. So um, they were, they were like spoke to me real talk, realistically, but at the same time we're very encouraging and are so encouraging still, and just we're each other's biggest fans, so always supporting each
Are your siblings, are they acting as well, or have they kind of chosen a little bit different
other.
path?
No, they're not acting, or Gracie, my sister, sometimes acts, but she's primarily a visual artist, a painter. And but my brother is in the business. He's a producer, and we actually work together. We run a company together with my dad, and where we develop shows and movies. So I'm working on the producing side of things as well, and with him, with family. So, and that's been amazing. And way to work with our family and keep it very close.
Well, that is very cool that you're able
Yeah,
to do that, and because some families when they work together don't always uh, want to be around each other that much.
totally.
That can be kind of a cool bonding thing.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
When you were coming up, what things were you watching? What was it as far as film or TV that was, I don't want to say inspiring you, but what was your thing coming up? Did you have a lot of similarities as far as like kind of what your folks were up to, or are you kind of going your own way?
No, I mean, I was like, they showed me like all of, their favorite movies and stuff. Like, I watched a lot of like, the Frank Capras and, the like the classics and stuff. And my dad was really into Fellini, so like there was a period of time when I like became obsessed with Giulietta Messina, and you know like Knights of Cabiria was like my favorite movie. um but then I was also like like I guess it was WB at the time, WB. I watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Party of Five, and then must see TV, Friends and Seinfeld and all of that, so like getting home to I'm by at my when I was that age, we would, if we couldn't be home at the time that it was shown, and we would record it on VCR.
Yeah, my kids unfortunately they just don't know the struggle that was
Yeah,
involved in a VCR, and you're the last generation that knew how to program the VCR,
yeah.
so
And it was, it was fun. Like, we would watch things and talk about them the next day at school, so that was always fun. But yeah, no, I'm trying to think. I love like I love like Chinatown and movies of the '70s. Obviously like The Godfather and all of that. But I and then and I like a lot of like goofy '80s movies.
I'm
um,
the same way. The other night I watched what did I watch the other night? It was the John Candy movie, Summer Rental. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I really liked The Great Outdoors, the one with him and Dan Aykroyd in
Oh
the
yeah.
woods and the bear and everything. That one we had on VHS. That like what else did we have? We had Princess Bride, watched so many times. The Goonies, um just all of those, all like 16 Candles.
I have all these videotapes, and my kids are looking at me like, "Why don't you get rid of all those?" It's like, "No, I cannot." It's like some kind of relic from a bygone era, you
Yeah,
know?
we had so many, and I wish we had kept them. Even the DVDs we got rid of, and I'm like, oh God, it would be so great.
Really, really. Well,
Yeah, like
nobody's got my DVDs from me. Those are definitely in storage in a storage unit, but
no, I know. We are kicking ourselves now that we did that, because now you try to look for a movie, and you can't even find it streaming sometimes, or you can't, like I loved like browsing, seeing like what it is we had, and the special collection that an individual has. And then but nowadays you're browsing, and it's like what the algorithm gives you.
yeah, the thing that sucks about it is that you don't get all the features you do on a DVD, all the outtakes, all the commentary. I always thought that was cool, watching a movie when you have somebody giving commentary of what it was like to make it and all that kind of stuff. I thought that was such a cool thing that I don't know. Maybe it'll be like vinyl. It'll come back around. Like
Yeah.
maybe my kids, when they get a little older, it'll be a thing.
No, I think it will. I think that people are doing that more. And yeah.
Well, what was the path for you after you got out of school? When you left Brown, were you on the path like, I'm going to go do this thing, or did you have some detours doing other kind of vocational stuff?
No, I sort of was one set mind. I spent 1 year in LA, living at home after college, and then moved to New York, and immediately started doing theater there. I My first job was at the Ensemble Studio Theater. It was a play called Lucy, actually, and I played the character Lucy. And it was my first like real off. It was off Broadway, but like my first like real professional job, and that place, Ensemble Studio Theater, became like a home for me and this creative source and social network of other actors and writers and directors, and this sort of like hub of like just young people, older people. It had been around since the 60s, so there were like older members who were like had so much wisdom, and then the young ones like us who were like just hungry and trying to get things going. And it was a really like wonderful meeting of like these artists. And yeah, I just like really respected everyone there, and we got to put on plays. you know there was a young writers group there that would constantly put up their work, and you could you know be a part of that. And
Was this in New York
yeah,
that you were
yeah,
doing this? Oh, okay, okay.
yeah,
Well, so that's kind of the place to be if you're doing that. I think, God, years and years and years ago, I'd seen an interview and somebody said New York is where you go learn the craft and then you move to LA to actually apply it.
yeah,
When it comes to working on camera or whatever.
yeah, yeah.
But to me, it would be so fun to be young, to be in New York with a lot of fellow theater weirdo kids.
It was the best.
How many years were you out there for?
I mean, I was there for like on and off like 12 years. Yeah. Yeah. There were a few like stints back in LA. Like I got a job out here, for a little bit, and then was here, and then went back to New York. And then yeah, I feel like torn still. Like I still love New York, and will take any opportunity to work there, and also go just visit and live there for stints of
Yeah,
time.
you got a big extended family out there, I'm assuming, don't you?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
were your folks calling you up going, "Hey, you need to go see your aunt so and so," or did they ever give you those calls like you got to go see the family?
yeah. No, no, not really. They were great, but it was great. Like it was a great excuse for them to come out, too, and for all of us to spend more time in the city, or like Jersey or wherever it was.
Now your dad's family, of course, Italy, and then your mother's family, Jewish. Where's your mother? Where are your mother's people from?
They're from Poland and Russia. Yeah, so yeah, my grandpa came over when he was like one from Poland, and
Oh, so really? So your mother was first generation born here? Okay, okay.
my grandma was born here, um, but my great grandma came over from Russia. Um, yeah, and they her side of the family all grew up in or lived in Coney Island, and then yeah, my grandpa, I'm not exactly sure, but they ended up like I think meeting in Coney Island also. I'm a little fuzzy on the details of where they met and stuff, but uh her side of the family is, yeah, Jewish, Polish, Russian.
So was theater or performance on either side your parents' family? Was this already something there, or were your folks the first ones out of the gate that decided, "Hey, we're going to go do this thing"?
They were no, they were the first ones, you know. My grandpa, he was um he was in the war, and he worked in a doll factory afterwards, and actually, but he had always wanted to, like, he always loved the business and everything. He loved, and he became like a staple on like a regular on at the guy at the bar at Cheers. Um,
Oh, really?
yeah, my mom got him, and he was an extra, and then sometimes they would like start to give him lines and stuff. And yeah, they ended up moving. My grandparents moved out here when I think right around when my parents started working.
Did you have a fair amount of time with your grandparents?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I was very lucky. yeah, they passed away, um, about maybe 10 years ago or a little less than that. So they were there, but they were there through my childhood. They came to all the school events. They saw me in school plays, and we got to celebrate holidays and all of that. So I was really like,
Yeah, I'm envious. You have both the Italian food and Jewish Eastern European food going on in the
yeah,
house. So
yeah. No, we know how to eat. That's one thing that we.
I got to know, like, who's doing the cooking in the family mostly? Is your mother, your dad, can they both cook?
They
Or
both can cook. Yeah, they both can cook. And they're both really good at it. Yeah. My dad really like, is he's really good at pasta. Really good at pasta.
now, when did you kind of shift things into gear? You're in New York, you're doing your thing, you are having your stints in LA, but when did it kind of shift into gear where you're really, you could call yourself, I'm a working actor? About
Yeah, I would say like around my mid 20s. Um, I'd done some plays, I'd done regional theater, and then little bit parts here and there, and then I got I was doing a show off Broadway, and worked with some really great people, um, and ended up getting a part on an uh, ABC Family show, Melissa and Joey, and
oh, I remember
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I did, and that was like a great first job. It was not my first job, but it was the first like regular. I was there all the time and really got to like be a part of it. I was like a big part of it, and for a couple of years.
Well, did you have any kind of preference? Did you develop any preference when it came to being on camera? Was it like film or TV? Was there any genre you liked the best? Well, not genre, but I mean, did you like the process of shooting TV or film, or did you even have a
No,
preference?
I didn't at the time. I mean, I felt like, and I still don't know which one if I like one or the other more, but I think they're all really fun. I most recently did a play, which was amazing. And that process, is so different. That's like with all the rehearsal and getting up and doing the show 8 times a week, is a really like demanding and but like exhilarating, way to perform.
But I guess when you're doing something multiple times throughout the week, you got to find a way to keep it fresh. I'm assuming, because you're doing this every
Mhm.
day. Was that ever a challenge, or did it ever get to be like, not boring, but
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the play and the people, but like for the most part, yeah. I mean, sometimes you wake up in the morning, and you're like, I don't want to do this again. But then, I always once it's also like I found sometimes you're like the moment before is like the moment where you're like, oh, I don't know, and then once I'm out there, I'm enjoying it. Um, but yeah, I mean, and but like schedule wise, like doing TV and film can be really a lot, a lot less demanding. But and also I love like the intimacy of film and um, just like being, having the camera close up and not having to project and having like
yeah,
these
yeah.
vulnerable intimate moments or quiet moments and um you know and lots of TVs like that at times too.
Have you directed, or do you have any aspirations to direct? You said you produce,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, I think maybe one day. I think that like the if the right thing came along, I would definitely be interested in that. Um, I haven't been like proactive about seeking that out at the moment, but like I think that um, there's there's a possibility. Yeah, in my future, I would like to test out directing. Yeah.
As far as your folks' library of stuff they did, what kind of sticks out in your mind is like that? I love that
Mhm.
project or that thing my mom and my dad did, or because I always wonder what it's like because you know your parents intimately. They're your
Yeah.
parents, but you watch them. What project sticks out like, oh, this is I loved this thing they
I
did.
mean, I'll go to the obvious one is Matilda for me. Because they're both in it, and that was like we read Roald Dahl books together, and me and Gracie brought we were the ones that introduced my parents to Matilda.
Really?
Yeah.
Watching your father play a not nice guy, is that was that what was that like for you? Were you like,
Well, I mean, that wasn't anything strange to me. I mean, because I grew up with him as the
oh,
penguin,
true, yeah.
and Louis De Palma. He's he I know him as this lovable, wonderful mensch of a guy, but like his characters can be grotesque or evil or whatever. And but I like that. There's always like a sense of like um fun in the way that he portrays those villainous characters.
Yeah, I think the first thing outside of the first thing I ever watched your father was got to be Taxi, but I was too young to really watch
Hmm.
it. But it was one of those things that was on, I think, in reruns. And quick question on the Secret Art of Human Flight. That's the name of the film.
Yeah.
It's out. How did this project come your way?
Yeah, well, I just kind of stumbled into it, and I just auditioned for the role, and was lucky enough to make a strong impression on the team, and I immediately really bonded with H.P. Mendoza, who's the director, and Grant Rosenmeyer, who's the producer and star of the movie, who we played brother and sister in it. Um, and Yeah, it was just kind of like this really wonderful, like, collaboration that fell into place. It was not something I just I feel very lucky to have um, you know, been there the right time, and be a part of it. And yeah, it's a beautiful movie. The Secret Art of Human Flight. It's very quirky and but emotional, and deals with these big themes of grief and loss, and family, and you know Paul Raci obviously is he plays an amazing character in it, and is just a wonderful actor and human being, and we all just had a really wonderful time shooting it.
Where did y'all shoot this?
We shot it in the Berkshires in Pittsfield,
Okay.
Massachusetts. Yeah, it was still during, like, uh, the height of COVID, so we were all basically everyone on the cast and crew. We were all living on this. They put us up in like at an old, like, camp, so with cabins, and we were like
Yeah, y'all are doing like summer camp movie making kind of a thing.
basically, yeah. Yeah, and it was the most fun ever. We had bonfires. You know, we ate together. We went to and from work together, and I think it just made for like a really, wonderful working environment. We were all just like became very close, and I'm still very close with a lot of the people who I worked with, and it was kind of a rare situation because, like, when you go do a movie, you're like, you stop in, you say hi, you do your thing, and then you go home, and it was really nice to have that sort of that camaraderie. Everyone, yeah, that's the thing. It was just like it was just a group of great people, and we uh, there wasn't a lot of money involved. It was just sort of like, let's like make this, let's come together and make this.
Generally, kind of where do you fit into the puzzle of the characters here?
Yeah, so the movie starts off with Ben, who is played by Grant Rosenmeyer, who's the lead of our film. He has recently lost his wife, and I play his sister, who it turns out, or you sort of get the sense that they are each other's only family, and so like my character's name is Gloria, and Gloria's kind of this very sort of practical, caring older sister, who really loves her brother, and worries about him a lot, and really tries to take care of him because he's going through this like incredible loss, and then trying to keep him um, you know from going off the rails, basically. Ben's character, he is you know thinking of has having thoughts of suicide, and it's pretty dark, but he comes across this Paul Raci's character Mealworm, has who claims that he can teach him how to fly, um, and so in the weirdest way, he and Ben is so distraught, and he'll do anything at this moment to, like, you know even if it's ridiculous.
Before we get going, I got something real quick. I call my 7 questions. First question I always ask, because food typically I end up talking about at least a few times every episode. What is your favorite comfort food? That thing you always land on, like you having a killer day, it sounds great, or if you just a bummer day, it just makes you happy.
Like spaghetti marinara, like just yeah, put pomodoro sauce with, like, cheese.
Very, very good. Keeping it simple. Yeah, my daughter was in Italy, and she got back. She's like, I can't do pasta anymore. She said, I was so envious. It's like, I want cacio e pepe from the place. Now, if you were to sit down with 3 folks, you're going to have coffee, talk story for a few hours. Living or not, who would those 3 people be you would like to sit down with and have a cup of coffee with?
Oh gosh. Well, I think I would go with my Aunt Gigi, who is my dad's sister. She passed away a little while ago, and I miss her to death, and would just love to have her at coffee. But I think going back to, yeah, I think like maybe someone like Julietta Messina. That would be awesome to see her, to meet her and talk to her. And who would the third one be? I don't know. Someone like I don't know, like Ingrid Bergman, or
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Somebody who is an icon
Yeah,
during their
some, like,
time. Yeah.
fabulous ladies, who could give me sound advice and talk about their, experiences.
The next question I got for you is going back to when you were young. Who was the first celebrity crush that you had?
I don't know. Let's see. I think that I really liked. I think. Gosh, I guess it was someone. It was like Leonardo DiCaprio or Keanu Reeves, or. um. Yeah, I think it
Well,
was one of those.
those are the guys that had the hits out back when you were growing up.
Yeah,
The big
exactly.
blockbusters. So now the next question. Now, if you're going to be on an island. You love being on the island. It's a beautiful, wonderful resort type situation. You got to be there for a whole year. There's
Mm.
no streaming, no internet, so you got to bring a DVD for like one movie and a CD, or I'll even give you a box set, whatever. But you want to have something to listen to and something to watch that you could watch and listen to over and over again. What would that DVD be? What would that CD be for you?
God, these are hard questions. Gosh, I don't know. I think well, I'm gonna go with Notorious since it's
Okay.
like one of my favorite movies. And then yeah, I guess it would be music wise. Um, I think it would probably be like the Beatles, like Revolver.
Yeah, I always say like a box set with somebody like that. You'll never run out of music,
Yeah,
if it's the
exactly.
Beatles.
Hmm.
Um, okay, very good, very good. Now, if you were to define from the time you get up to the time you go to bed, the component parts of a perfect day for you, what would that be? Or what would those things be?
It would be a great cup of coffee and a delicious scone or something. And it would be spending time with you know my family, with my husband, with my kid now, my baby, my parents, my sister, my brother. It would be being outside at some point, taking a walk or seeing nature of some sort, um, and doing something like a little bit active. Like I like to do yoga or just taking a good long walk is great. Um, and then eating some really good food, eating some great pasta or pizza, um, having maybe like a glass of wine and yeah, and watching a movie. That's
Taking it easy throughout the day. That's
exactly.
glorious.
Yeah,
And I'm sure sooner than later it'd be like, a whole full night of uninterrupted sleep. That would be glorious, I'm
exactly.
sure.
Yes, yes.
Now, if next question, if you weren't doing this for a living, if you weren't, this wasn't your vocation, what else could you see yourself doing that would bring you joy that it would be the number two choice for you? What would
Hmm.
that be?
I think it would be gosh, it would be um I don't know. I think it would be something like artistic. Like if I could you know, paint or draw and do that. That's what I would love to do.
Very good. And the last question I got for you is, if you were to jump in that DeLorean, um, go back to 16-year-old you, and you got a piece of advice, either to put yourself on a little bit different path or to make that moment of your life just a little bit better. What would that piece of advice be? You have a couple of minutes with 16-year-old you. What kind of advice are you passing along?
Yeah, I think I would just say like to trust myself and to be myself and to, you know, have confidence in who I am. I felt like I think that when at that age, if like I dealt with a lot of insecurities, and
Well,
so
that's part of the rule book. You have to be insecure. You're coming right out of, I guess, junior
yeah,
high, middle school age range. And now you're, trying to find your handle. I would say that's probably 80% of the time. I'd say folks say the exact same thing.
yeah,
That and
yeah,
it's going to be okay. Stop
and
stressing.
yeah, lots of words of affirmation.
Before we wrap up, you're talking about advice you give yourself. Given that you can tap the well of knowledge and experience your folks have, what piece of advice from both of them has really throughout the years really resonated with you that you thought was just fantastic advice for doing this gig for a living?
Yeah. Well, to I think to have thick skin, try to have build up the thick skin, but to really like listen to people and really give people space to, so that you could bounce off of them,
Yeah.
to really, um, uh, yeah, just be a good listener.
Well, I so appreciate you sharing time with me and having a 1-month-old baby. God bless you. Well, congratulations on the film, on the baby, and hopefully we'll have a chance down the line to connect again.
That would be great. Thank you so much, Mark.
All right, there you go. Lucy DeVito. Really enjoyed this conversation with her. The new movie you can check out right now, video on demand or VOD. It is called The Secret Art of Human Flight. Check it out. And tell you what, I want to thank you very much for coming by today, spending some time with me. Make sure to leave a review, leave some stars on that podcast app. Help people find the show. And of course, follow Story and Craft. That way you get notified every time we have a new episode. And everything Story and Craft, as always, storyandcraftpod.com. And that's it for me today. We will be back together soon. And you have yourself a great rest of your day or weekend, whatever you got planned. Thank you for making this show part of whatever you got going on. It is appreciated. And we'll see you next time right here on Story and Craft.
That's it for this episode of Story and Craft. Join Mark next week for more conversation right here on Story and Craft. Story and Craft is a presentation of Mark Preston Productions, LLC. Executive producer is Mark Preston. Associate producer is Zachary Holden. Please rate and review Story and Craft on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. You can subscribe to show updates and stay in the know. Just head to storyandcraftpod.com and sign up for the newsletter. I'm Emma Dillon. See you next time, and remember, keep telling your story.